Friends and family from everywhere can tell your friends that they can get on now and hear some conversation between myself and Tasha. We're going to be talking about eating what's in season for a reason. It's in season for a reason. And let's look at some of these fruits and veggies that are on this list. Let's see. Okay, so peppers. I love the look of peppers and I love spicy things. But I do
You're
not
the
like to
spicy
eat
one.
peppers.
You don't?
Isn't that
Do you?
weird?
It is. So, have you tried them in different, in different dishes or raw
Absolutely.
versus?
I just do not like
Yeah.
it's not the spice of it. I consume lots of spicy things. When I go to Thailand, the people are always so shocked because I can eat as hot as you can dish it out when it comes to spice. But the actual taste of crunching into that pepper, I do not like. Let's
And
see.
and
Yeah, go
they're
ahead.
all of them have different types of flavors. So the green is more on the bitter kind of end, and the red is much more on the sweet end. And it is a
Yeah, go ahead.
It is a little bit of an acquired taste if it's not something that you've had, real regularly. And a lot of people go into eating them raw by using them with a dip or hummus or something like that just kind of
Yep.
gets you
I
in the
love
groove.
raw veggies. I do a lot of raw sandwiches. Like today I had I like jalapenos. I like some peppers. I just don't like bell peppers. Let's see. What else
That's
is on
so
there?
funny.
I'm not into blueberries either.
Whoa,
I
I cannot
love
believe it.
cabbage. Yeah, I'm not into
Yeah.
blueberries. I absolutely
What
love cabbage.
do you like it cooked or raw?
Both. I like
Yeah.
cabbage cooked and raw.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe. Oh my word. Oh, I can wipe out my calorie allotment with cantaloupe.
Can't get enough of that lope.
Yeah. Carrots, I'm not into carrots much. I can eat them raw and cooked, but they're not my favorite. Cauliflower, oh my gosh, I love me some cauliflower raw and cooked.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Let's see,
Good stuff.
celery. I'm not into celery.
Celery is so funny too, in the fact that you can get a good batch and it's kind of sweet, and then you can get another batch and it tastes like dirt. So
I just am not into it.
It depends.
Whatever that aroma is that freshens your palate and clears your nose,
Yeah.
I loathe it.
Really.
Yes, I
Really
just hate
interesting.
it. I love cucumbers.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tolerate eggplant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Grapefruit. Ew, not into grapefruit. Oh, guava. Oh,
No.
Lord. Yes.
Really, that's so funny. I have a funny story about guava. When Alan and I used to live in the Keys, I was not familiar with guava at all, but he was very familiar with it. And there's guava trees all over the place, and it's very easy to pick fresh guava. And he had brought fresh guava home after work one day and set them out by the front door because they were really ripe and they smelled straight up like dirty shoes. And I could not get past the smell of them. And he said, Tasha, they're great. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to have to do because I can't get past that, whatever that smell was. I've had, guava prepared in things and like it a lot. And I need to probably visit that again, but I was a little traumatized initially.
I love it in like every way I've ever experienced it. I'm really into it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lettuce, I love all kinds of lettuces. I mean, I know the iceberg has the least nutritional value, and I really get frustrated when I get a salad and it's got all of the little bits at the end. I don't like that at all, but I love lettuces. Oh,
yeah.
Mushrooms, love mushrooms. Oranges, oh, can't get enough oranges. Papaya.
Can't get enough.
Yeah, I'm into papaya. I like papaya. Peanuts. Oh Lord. Do boiled peanuts count?
Yes, and I think that, sometimes I tease that peanut butter is one of my food groups because I love it so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Potatoes.
Mhm.
I cannot get, I know this is not the case, but I cannot get a potato to be a part of my life as anything other than a junk food.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
can't
sometimes
see it.
it's what we're used to used to having. So yeah, you got to reinvent it in a different way.
Yeah, and I love it, but I rarely partake in it because it's
Mhm.
like I'm like it's just a junk food in my head, and I
Yeah.
it's just something stupid I need to get over. Let's see. Let me go back to that list. This is making me hungry. Let's see.
Well, at least it's good, fresh stuff.
Yeah. I don't have
Yeah.
my glasses on. Or radishes. I,
Radishes.
I'm not sure if I'm into radishes. Tell me about radishes.
So radishes are sort of like a little bit of a peppery. It's mostly used as a garnish. A lot of times they're
Yeah,
sliced
when I bite
very
into it, it's
thinly.
crunchy. It's real
Yeah.
crunchy.
Mhm.
I can't think,
And
is it bitter? Is it like
it,
celery? Does it give off that?
it has more of a peppery kind of a bite than a bitter. I think it may have like some edges of bitter. It
Okay.
also, because it's a root vegetable, kind of can feel a little like people say that beets are a little earthy in the way that they kind of
Uh-huh.
just smell of the dirt even when they're
Yep.
clean. Um, but
Yep.
they do
Yep.
add a nice dimension to a salad.
Yeah. I guess I
Mhm.
need to explore it a little bit more. I know I've had them. I know it's been mixed up in
Mhm.
salads before. I just can't place my mind on how much I love them.
Mhm.
Snap. Does that say beans or peas?
Beans, snap beans.
Not beans. So
So green
basically green
beans, snappy.
beans? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Oh my
green beans.
word.
I don't like it when they've got that fuzz on them.
Yeah. When they're when they're very crisp, they are so good to eat raw. You can use them as
Like a
a
snack.
dip in
Ditto.
hummus. Oh my
Yeah.
word, I
I
love
don't even
them
have
like
to dip
that.
them in anything. I can just pull them out of the bag
Mm-hmm.
and eat them. But like I don't like
Yep,
peaches for the same reason. If that fuzz is on there,
that
I'm it's
fuzzy.
just not a texture that I'm okay with. My
Yeah,
body says no, ma'am.
yeah.
Let's
Sometimes
see.
washing them will can kind of loosen some of that up, so it's
Yeah.
not as off-putting.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Spinach. Oh my word, I love me some spinach. Oh, raw.
Yes.
I don't like it cooked much, but I love it raw.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always disappointing when you buy like this. I buy the boxes of the fresh spinach, and in two salads, I'm done.
Yeah,
So we have to buy in
exactly.
large quantity because it
Yep.
goes very quickly.
And I
Yeah.
don't, I run everything I do, preparation is my weak link. So if there's a lot of
Hmm.
preparation to it, I'm not sticking to the plan. So I
Right.
tend to buy the pre-washed spinach,
Yeah.
which means
Yep.
it's more expensive and it's in a smaller
Hmm.
bag. And it's like,
Hmm.
but
Hmm. I know it. I know it.
I love
Yeah.
spinach.
That's
It's,
good.
I don't know why
Good.
I love it so much, but I do.
The trick
Squash.
with
Oh,
buying it,
yeah.
I was just going to say, the trick with buying the spinach really is to pick up that package and look all the way around and make sure there's no visible moisture in it.
Soggy. Mm.
The second there is any kind of condensation on the inside of that bag, you or the box, that there is a very short life to that spinach. So
Yeah.
you better be ready to cook it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is I like spinach cooked, but I'm not crazy about it. And so and
Mm-hmm.
again, preparation is not my thing. Standing at the stove is not my thing. Let's
Hey, you got to
see.
know where your strengths are.
I do. It's truly the key to my life. If I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing, like if I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. I mean, I do things that are my weaknesses anyway, but knowing it, accepting it, and rolling with that is super important to
Sure.
meeting our success, for all of
Sure.
us. That's the case.
Absolutely.
Um Let's see. Oh, this yellow squash. Oh, gracious. Okay. I like yellow squash and all the squashes,
Mm-hmm.
but I love yellow squash both raw and
Yes.
cooked. Oh,
Yeah. Do you like it? Have you done much, like, do you like it grilled or sauteed or
any and
steamed?
all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Any
It
and
is good.
always. I
Yes.
absolutely love it. With
Mhm.
onions, I can cut
Mhm.
up some squash and some onions and just
Mhm.
put them on bread and crunch right into that. Oh, I love it. Let's see,
Mm.
strawberries. I have learned only in the last year to like strawberries.
Really? I'm
Yep.
so surprised about the berries. Of this
Nope.
whole list, the blueberries and strawberries and the melons are like my
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah,
excited
I
about them in
know.
season.
We actually, you and I have discussed this before, but we've not discussed it on a live stream. How that I spent the majority of my life up until my
Mhm.
mid 30s, I did not like any. I mean, the word any is a too strong of a word, but like on one hand, the fruits and vegetables that I liked,
You've
I
come a
just
long way.
right, exactly. It's been a good 10 years, but
Yes.
it's bear. I don't know. I just did not like strawberries. And now I love strawberries. I use them for facials and for teeth brushing and for everything. Corn. Oh, corn is another one that I love so much, but it
Mhm.
falls under that comfort food to me because I will indulge too much.
Yes. My favorite way to, I mean, we like corn and a lot of different things, but I love to cut fresh corn off of the cob and add it to some type of a like a mixed salad. We do a lot of like tomatoes and cucumbers and onions and maybe
Mm-hmm.
some drained black beans or garbanzo beans or something like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
cut that fresh corn in there. There is something about that sweetness of that fresh corn in, even if
Yeah.
when you put in a little bit of jalapenos and stuff. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Do not like if I'm making my own salad, corn will not be going in it. Like if I'm at a salad
Mhm.
bar or something like that, I will they typically have that as something to include there and I don't. But
Mhm.
I will shuck a cob of corn and just wash it and eat it right
Yes.
raw, just
Oh
like that.
yeah.
I
Yes.
absolutely love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like corn a lot. Let's see. We're getting to the end of this list and it's making me feel better just talking about food. Tangerines, all of those orange any all of those Florida citrus
Yes.
foods I love.
Give them all.
So tangerine. Okay, wait. I got a question because we're talking about in season. Okay, let me just finish this up real quick on my end. Tomatoes, I like. I just want them sparingly. I like them fine, but I'm not crazy about them. And watermelon,
Mm.
yeah, I can sit and eat the whole watermelon all by my little old
Mm.
lonesome.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
what was I gonna ask about? Oh, tangerines. So
Mhm.
oranges, of course, is a winter fruit.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and it's
tangerine
interesting.
is
Even, I mean, you see orange and you also see grapefruit, even still on this list. And so, depending on what area of Florida, now I will say we have less and less citrus in Florida, which is so heartbreaking.
yeah,
Um, but in it's probably in the more northern states, they may be getting some oranges off of their trees. I have an
yeah,
orange tree in my backyard, and it bloomed and uh, it's already got the starting of new fruit buds. But it was holding fruit until just a couple of weeks ago. We finally said, let's just take off all of the ripe fruit so that
hmm
give the tree a little bit of energy. So they probably would have still been on the tree now,
hmm
honestly, if we had not
hmm
plucked them.
yeah.
So I'm thinking probably a little bit more of the northern states. I mean, we had a
And
very mild winter, so
so much of our today's world, you're getting stuff that's grown in other parts of the world, which is what keeps
right,
it, in your market all
consistent, right?
year.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. My mom's
yeah.
raised in California. She moved to
Mhm,
Florida when I was, before I was born. She married my dad, moved to
mhm,
Florida. So I grew up every summer going to California. The fruit there
Mm,
is
I can imagine.
unbelievable. I mean,
Yes.
and
Yes.
to this day, even though I am a diehard Floridian, I love my Florida status. I was born here. I didn't
Hmm.
move here. I just love that I'm living in the same town I was born in. I love everything about it. But when it comes to buying
Hmm.
oranges, I almost always buy California oranges, California
Really.
navels usually. Yeah.
And it's become very popular, to get the, because honestly, they're beautiful. I mean, the
Yeah.
fruit that's being produced in California is beautiful, and Florida has awesome, like Valencia oranges. You could not get a sweeter orange if you were trying to, for juicing and that type of purpose. But when you think about some of the other navels, unless you go to a farmer's market where
Mhm.
someone is bringing their produce, their citrus,
Right.
you're
Mhm.
not likely to actually find good local Florida produce. Even
Yeah.
in the store this week, I tried looking, I was even comparing, and honestly, there were no red navels or regular navels that were Florida that were, readily available at the store I was shopping at. So even though they're on the list, they've got to
Yeah.
be in the more northern region of Florida right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you really care about buying local, you've got to be
Hmm.
pushy about it.
Right. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they will go to a farmer's market and they will have
Hmm.
had their they look like they're farmers themselves, their tables, but they did not grow
They're
that.
vendors. Yeah.
Yes,
They're vendors.
indeed. We had I miss his little stand down. I live in out in the country. We're separated by 1 and 2 acres typically,
Hmm.
and this elderly gentleman had a garden in his. It was probably about a quarter acre garden. It was
Hmm.
sufficient looking,
Hmm.
certainly when it's rare to see gardens, it was beautiful, and I loved driving
Hmm.
past it. Whatever was in season, he was growing, but he was
Right.
selling on his little table out by the road way more than what he was growing.
Oh
But it just
yeah.
made you feel so good to pull up at his little
Yeah.
table and buy his stuff. It's
Right.
like, oh, there's no telling where he bought this from.
Well, variety is what brings people in, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm missing right now with all of the shutdowns and everything. The Volusia County Fairgrounds has a massive farmers market every Wednesday morning, and it's been a
Wow.
staple in our in my routine for
Oh, that's
probably over 20
heartbreaking.
years. And so to
Oh,
have that being shut down right now, I'm a little bit working with one arm behind my back, but I feel for all of those vendors who depend on
no
that as an
kidding.
income. I've been thinking
Oh,
about
it's
them, thinking,
heartbreaking.
yep,
Wow.
yep,
Oh, I hate that.
yes,
So we
I
are talking
know.
about eating what's in season. It's in season for a
Mhm,
reason. Tell me some
mhm,
more about that. Like what does that mean for a reason?
mhm. So for a reason, when I started thinking about this topic, I was just thinking about the season that we're in all of, the pandemic and all of the things that we're being faced to kind of modify. And I'm thinking, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Are
I'm
we,
just giving the audience
okay.
something else to look at. I'm just making them
Okay.
hungry.
Oh, there we go. Just having everybody's routines kind of disheveled, um, we sometimes lose sight of the fact that there are good things in the season that we're in. We're seeing fruits of a lot of people's labor, love of a lot of different things, and I think it kind of pertains also to how nutrition applies to our lives. The fact that there are specific reasons why God designed specific fruit, specific vegetables to grow in specific time frames, and it's because of what we need bodily just to be able to function as humans.
Yeah.
We think about different climates and different terrains, and even with the different seasons, our body has to be able to prepare for the conditions ahead. And, back before the Industrial Revolution, physical labor was the only way that anything got done. And the body had to be your machine. And, throughout the winter, when life was a little bit more subdued, the foods that were readily available were those comfort type food, those root vegetables that were sort of one of those things that helped you kind of pack it on a little bit, because as soon as the ice began to melt a little bit, you were out working the fields and getting a lot done, and your body needed that extra energy source. And it's also really interesting how in the in the winter months, dark green leafy vegetables are very they grow very well in the cold climate, and they're a great source of vitamin C. And we know that vitamin C is very important for making the immune system function well. And so, as winter thawed into spring and they started getting out there and planting, then they were able to reap the harvest of some of these very, very fresh, energy producing fruits and vegetables that they would need to be able to sustain them all through the summer harvest. And
it's interesting that the particular kinds of fruits that grow in the summer have a lot of water in them. They're hydrating.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, you're in months where you've got a lot of sun, you've got a lot of heat, you are sweating a lot. Yeah. Hi, Marco. But you're getting, but what is growing at that time of year is sustaining you.
Right. And so really to kind of take the opportunity of taking what's good in that particular season, you get a couple of different things. You get the highest amount of nutrients in those foods because they're not sitting on the shelf for an extended period of time. The soil is right at the peak of what it can give to the plants, and so that's a major big benefit of for the body. But also thinking about budget wise, I mean, you can pretty much tell what's in season just by going into the grocery store and seeing what's on sale. If you saw the Publix flyer, and actually, our little flyer that we were showing, Fresh from Florida did their own sort of look at what you can find at Publix that's fresh from Florida, and they're highlighting these things that they're going to be more budget friendly. They really want to support our Florida farmers as well. So the basis for kind of our conversation simmers down to what we've talked about, you and I, about the essential 10, and the part of those elements as when we'll unfold them as we go forward. But when people think about nutrition, they immediately start thinking about carbs and protein and fats. But vitamins and minerals are so important. And
yes, and I'm glad you said that, because we definitely are the information that we read that's quickly available to us, it has us measuring everything in what you just said, carbs and calories and fats. We're not measuring things in vitamin A and vitamin D, and we're not thinking of them in those terms. Yeah.
Right. And so those carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, we call them the macronutrients because they're the big things. And we call all these vitamins and minerals the micronutrients. And so something that I tell my patients, it's a little bit of a little visual that helps them to get an understanding about why it's important to have both, is that, when you go to Office Depot and you buy a desk and you bring home this box and it's all in pieces, and you bring out, you've got the surface and you've got all the sides to make the actual desk, and you go searching for that bag of screws and nuts, and it's gone. That desk is absolutely useless without the nuts and bolts that it requires to put it together. And so the wood frame is all the carbs and the proteins and the fats. And then that little important bag of nuts and bolts, that's your vitamins and minerals. You can't put anything together unless you have all of those little pieces to kind of work together. And so
that's awesome.
Through, food processing and us eating foods that look less than their original form, we've actually stripped a lot of those important vitamins and minerals. And
so when you say look less than their original form, what are some ways that is? Of course, cooking is one way that we break it down from its original form.
So, you think about the fact that cornstarch comes from corn, but you're not going to get the same vitamins from cornstarch as you would be if you were eating the corn. Or even, as simple as, as white flour, it's not going to contain all of the nutrients of the whole grains that you might put in if you were doing like a wheat berry salad or something like that. It's going to be entirely different nutrition profile.
Yeah.
So beginning to eat foods that look a little bit more like, what we have on the What's Fresh in Florida in April, they're recognizable. I'll give you another example. Some of our children have gotten used to fruit in the form of like maybe like a fruit roll-up, or and there are some varieties of fruit roll-ups that are all fruit, but sometimes it's just a gummy, or sometimes it's a chip that may have a small amount of fruit juice in it, but it doesn't have any of the other benefits of the actual fruit. So you sort of miss out on all of those extra
in your opinion, is it a good thing, or is it to be avoided to seek out the fruits and veggies that come from other states, other locations? What are your thoughts about that?
So I don't think that there's anything bad in that. It does open up our food options for sure. And where produce is concerned, you're not necessarily going to go wrong to be, searching out foods that maybe are grown in another area. But maybe if you were trying to get watermelon in the winter, you're not going to get a good variety. Unless maybe it was grown in Costa Rica or something, and they do have the climate.
That's typically what I've gotten. Yeah.
So and even still, you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference in the quality of a melon at the beginning of the season versus towards the end of the season.
Oh yeah.
There's an entirely different. I mean, by the end of the season, the soil is a little depleted. There's less sweetness, it's more water. I mean, you can definitely tell the difference. So obviously the nutrition profile is going to be different in that too.
Well, I hope to have a friend of mine who is a farmer. I would traditionally say a farmer's wife, but she does work with him. So I think that would mean she's a farmer as well.
I think that she earns that right.
Yeah, but I need to see about getting her on to interview to talk about like soils and you know, what farmers think about when they are planting for what seasons and how they prepare the soil. And also she's going to know a little bit about what makes something organic and non-organic and how to look for that. But anyway, that's something we can look forward to. We've only got about 10 more minutes. So if you've got some final things to say, get those ready. But I wanted to let you know that on Facebook, somebody named Jennifer Simmons Sexton said, Tasha, you were proud. We had some baked eggplant bites as an appetizer tonight.
Look at you go, Jennifer.
Yes,
That's awesome.
I think this is Zach Gordell. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't tell if it's Gordell or Gordelli.
Hey, Zach.
Excellent analogy for macro and micronutrients.
Yes, listen, him and his family. He's a colleague of mine that has moved out west, and it's good to hear from him too.
Ah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So, the last couple of things I just wanted to pull out on this list is some of the good vitamins that come from the items that are on this list. So pretty much
I'm going to pull
anything that's
back that
green.
list while you talk about it, just so we can
Okay.
get hungry for it.
So anything that's green, the lettuce, the kale, the spinach, any of those leafy greens, those are going to contain lots of B vitamins, which are awesome for metabolism. They also have vitamin C and E for immune health. We're all talking about immune health, and there's no magic bullet, but it all works together to keep the body healthy. Also, vitamin K to make sure our blood clots properly. I sort of think about this as an interesting thing. God designed us so intricately that he made food so that it would support the body in every form possible. Like, we by nature are hardworking people. We may injure ourselves in doing that. So, that thing. And God says, look, I'm going to give you some source of nutrients to prevent you from bleeding out in the event of you, accidentally hurting yourself. So I think that's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of those, the bell peppers and strawberries, a lot of the reds and the blues, all of those and the yellows and that sort of thing, those are going to have lots of the vitamin C for the immune function. Also, they are great for the development of collagen, which helps to keep our skin healthy. So, that's another great reason to keep those in the diet. And they're also full of antioxidant. And so if antioxidant sounds like a really abstract term for you or for any of our listeners, in short, an antioxidant is the good guy that's protecting your cells from the free radicals, or otherwise known as the rogue bandits, which can kind of create some disease and unrest in the body. So as many of those antioxidants, the colorful vegetables that we can have, that's really awesome. And then mushrooms.
My personal goal on a plate is to have as many colors as possible. Just as many colors as possible. That was an easy thing for me to learn early on. So just like you don't need a plate with nothing but green stuff on it. You need a plate that's got green stuff and red stuff and yellow stuff and orange stuff and brown stuff. I mean, you need a lot of color. That's the optimum fuel for your body.
Yes, eat your colors. We call that the Cindy plate in my house, because my mom she'd say, put some color on that plate.
Put more color on that plate. Are you sure she wasn't saying collards? Was she saying collards?
Well, she was from Boston, so I don't know that it's collards. It would have been what she would say.
Okay, it was color.
Not collards. Yeah, it was colors.
Yeah, that is the thing. Yeah, put more color. And again, as a child, I did not like that color. I did not like those foods at all. I didn't like them as an adult, making my own choices. I did not like them. But once I did, it was, I crossed some kind of invisible line that I give God thanks for. But I mean, I cannot get enough of the original color.
That's awesome.
Crunch it and crunch it and crunch it.
Awesome.
I'm so thankful.
Awesome. So, mushrooms are on this list, and I've heard people say mushrooms aren't good for anything. And actually they are. They have copper, which helps to strengthen the connective tissue. And it also has niacin, which they're finding niacin is actually really helpful in the recovery of, those patients that have COVID-19.
Wow. So mushrooms are a good thing to eat.
Yes. And it's also got B5 for energy. And what's really fascinating about mushrooms is that when mushrooms are treated with ultraviolet light, they've actually been found to retain vitamin D. And vitamin D is not something you can typically find in any plant-based food. So if you happen to buy a container of mushrooms that says contains vitamin D, they've been treated specifically with vitamin D for your benefit. So I think that's that's a pretty innovative thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And so, a lot of those other orange vegetables, the carrots and the cantaloupe and the mango and the papaya are also, great sources for beta carotene, which we know is good for our vision and also immune health. So, we're trying to gear ourselves up to be our healthiest and try to get the best out of what we can from this season, because what's in season is good for us.
Yeah, amen. So before we go, let's talk about what those 10 essential things are.
Yes, absolutely. So, when you start to think about how God designed us, he put us together in such a way that we have this innate desire to connect with him. And in the first 3 elements of the essential 10, we know that connecting with him has everything to do with the word of God and prayer and salvation. So that's a spiritual platform or foundation for healthy living and wellness and of the spirit and in the mind. Because when we're well in that aspect, we can take on new information and apply it and see God in every other area of our lives. It's really amazing. So then when, he also gave us this earth, he actually put us in a garden, which I think is also pretty amazing. He says, everything you need for life is going to be right around you. You're going to have it at arm's length. And so those are remaining essential elements for the physical body are water, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And those things are readily available in the food sources that he designed for us in the, in the seed-bearing plants and the fruit-bearing trees. And so we just kind of look around at the things that he has designed for us and take advantage of every good thing in that season.
He's a good father.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, folks, we will be back next week. We're going to shoot for Tuesday at 6 p.m. Yes. We had some things happen this week, but Tuesday at 6 p.m. we'll be back, and we'll be talking with Tasha again about what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, why to eat, and all things about eating. But we will also, Tasha and I are both Bible-based Christian believers, and so everything that we do is founded on the word of God, and we try to be led by the Spirit of God. And so we will always delve into some spiritual things as well, but our main focus is to get the body of Christ fueling themselves properly so that they can function and do what God has called them to do, what God has called them to be. There's another health page that I've created with Teresa Billingsley and a few other people called Club 312. And that's John 3:12 says, may your body prospers even as your soul prospers. So we need the soul to prosper, but we can't forget that the body's supposed to be prospering as well. So anyway, thank you, Tasha, for this conversation and information. Yes. And I will see you next week.
And we did it. We got it done tonight. I'm so excited. You got it done.
Glory.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes. Bye. Love you. Have a good night.
Love you. Bye-bye.